Well, again, because Port Orange has maintained such a good reputation, in my opinion, for the last 25 years of doing things the right way. It's, we're doing what we can, but times are getting a little different now. Economic times are a little different, and tightening up the belt is what's called for right now.
Well, we touched on something which is in one of my pages, so let me go back to it. Let me ask you, on the flow of information, can a city councilman, and I understand you're restricted by sunshine law, can a council member mention to the city manager what he thinks about an issue, and the general manager repeat it to another councilman?
Absolutely not.
That's not
Absolutely
not
not.
permitted.
Nope. And it has never occurred for my time that I've been on the council, I can assure you that.
So when you do go to the council meeting, you don't know what the other people are thinking about it unless they state it up there to you and in front of us.
Correct. That is absolutely correct.
You feel hampered by such a sunshine law?
Not really, because again, I brought some things to show you what we deal with. You know, we get a council packet. So this is our Bible, so to speak, prior to a council meeting. Usually Wednesday or Thursday prior to a Tuesday meeting, we get the agenda on what's going to be discussed. And of course, we as council members can either ignore what's in here and just go to a council meeting unprepared, but who would want to look like an idiot? So luckily, and my understanding was previous council members were totally unprepared, never even opened a book prior to a council meeting. But now we have 5 people that look at the packet, we study the issues. So this is the information that we're given prior to it. And when we get there,
Is that the same information that's in PDF form on the internet, on the city website?
right,
Yes.
right. So we get an outlined agenda, then we get a little more detailed agenda with city manager comments. Then we get the nuts and bolts of it are all listed for us, and that's how we get our information. And granted that the amount of controversy has been somewhat limited recently due to the economic downturn, so there's really not any reason to have many differences of opinion on things. But I think that what a big issue is that people don't understand in the city of Port Orange, and I'll be frank with you, I didn't understand prior to me getting on the council, is that landowners have rights. Commercial property owners have rights. I'll give you a classic example. The CVS, the new CVS going up off of Taylor Road and Dunlop. People say, why in the world do we need another CVS pharmacy on that corner when we have maybe 4 or 5 within a mile stretch of property? Well, that developer or that owner of that property bought that property with commercial zoning rights. He as long as he follows what has been established for commercial business to go in there, he has the right to put that up. We do not have the right to say no, they can't do that. So commercial and business property owners have rights. I know just like outside here, Summer Trees, there was some controversy when that little strip mall went in. That owner bought that property with commercial rights. He has the right to do that. We cannot restrict, well, we can restrict on certain businesses that if he would want to put in there. But when he buys a piece of property with X amount of businesses that are allowed in there, and he has commercial zoning on it, he buys the property, he has the right to develop. We can't tell him no.
How about if the concurrency formula turns out to show that the traffic cannot handle?
That's a little bit of a different issue there. And there has to be everybody has to conform to what the concurrency standards are for water, sewer, police, road impact, recreation. I believe those are the 5.
On those terms, it
Right.
could be stopped.
It could, yeah, then we have to we have to work through those issues, that is correct.
Well, let me take the opportunity here, since we're hitting on that point of subject, is this, that, yeah, I think the city manager is one hell of a guy, and he must have a lot of expertise. He's probably most top-notch here in this Central Florida area.
City Manager of the Year for the entire state of Florida.
But was he? No.
Yes, he was.
Oh, then backs me up. I'd
Right.
forgotten that. The one exception I have, and I could be wrong about it, and I had some email correspondence with him, was when the planning board discussed a development that was going to be built. And their review of the circumstances said that the traffic would not be able to handle on this. And there wasn't doubt as to how much Volusia County could come up with money for roads and whatnot. They had a memo to go to the city council requesting a moratorium on development. And the one exception the one exception I have on the general manager, I thought he was very wrong in refusing to pass that memo over to the city council, where they could make a decision on the.
Right.
Instead, he called for a workshop hearing, workshop groups
Right.
on the subject. And with the exception of that, and I can still be wrong, I just seemed that was self-defeating. It took some of the authority away from the planning commission, and I thought it was time to give it to the city council. Let them decide if they want more information, have a budget. So,
Right.
but otherwise, we shouldn't make too big of a deal out of it. I think that was a big mistake. But I do think for a various bunch of reasons. But I do think he's certainly wouldn't fire him because I happen to agree with him on that. He's excellent, and he tries his best to speak with anyone and communicate with anybody, even though they may have an adversarial position, and he's great in that way. So it leads me to 2 points away. I'm going off. See, I know what I'm doing. I got it all
Right.
down there. One thing is, you can't share your emails with other city council members, can you?
No, I don't, if, the only way they will see, they certainly saw the email I sent to you because you put it out there, and which is fine, that's no problem.
Right. So you replied to all.
Well, when I replied to you and then you put it out there, I can't control what you do.
Right.
All right? I do not email Dennis Kennedy or Mayor Alan Green. There's no way I would ever do
Is that violation of the Sunshine Law?
Absolutely.
Well, if you get emails coming to you from the people,
Right.
and some are good and some are bad,
Right.
you have no way of sharing it with the other city council people?
No. Unless I write it down, and when we have council comments at the end of our, council meetings, then I can bring that up.
Then you can do that.
Right.
I would ask for consideration for the council members. I guess I'll have to send them all an email. But I would think that would be a good idea
Right.
to be able to tell, you don't have names, but you
Right.
might have the nature.
Right.
I got 4 emails of a complaint about left-hand turns on
Right.
such and such,
Right.
or I got,
Well, here's the thing, as far as that goes. When we get concerns addressed, I'll give you an example of a positive email, okay?